So we got this 2010 Malibu in, it needs headlight. It's got one out, and he wants both of them replaced because he tried to get it replaced at Walmart, and they didn't want to do it. Walmart said they refused to do it, and then he went to another shop, and they wanted $150 to change one because you got to pull this front bumper off, and they charge outrageous now to change the headlights. So I'll show you how to change the headlights. You can do it yourself, and it's really not that hard, and you can save yourself a bunch of money. First thing we have to do is pull this panel off here, which has a bunch of 10mm bolts, a couple of push clips. So we'll pull this off first and move on to the bumper. Alright, so we remove that panel there, some 10mm bolts, some pot clips. Come off to the bumper here, you pull this up a little bit on each side. And then the only thing you have to do is turn your wheel in the opposite side that you're working on. There's 3 push clips on these. There's one here, one here, one here, and then there's one wrench or bolt up in here, 10mm, that you have to take off. So you do that on both sides. And like I said, it's easier to turn this tire inward on the side you're working on to make access to those bolts. We'll kind of show you that. So you can see here, these are clips. You can use needle nose or side dikes to get those out. I bought this at Harbor Freight. It's like a $6 tool. It works great. You just put it under there, press down, it comes right out. So it's a neat little handy tool. I used to use the upholstery pullers for these, but this thing's pretty handy, and it's only like, pretty sure it was less than $10 at Harbor Freight. You can see we're using the impact, a long extension. It's 10mm. It's up inside there. And it's one bolt. It's right there. So that's the same on both. So it's both the same on both sides. So we go to the next side, turn the wheels the other way, pop out those 3 clips, that bolt, and then this front bumper, we'll pull it outward, and it should give us access to the headlights. Instead, you know, the book will tell you to take the bottom of the bumper off. There's like 10 bolts under there, but I don't think we have to do that. We'll have to find out, but I'm pretty sure we can skip that step and save some time. So now we'll move on to the other side and do that side. It's the same procedure as this side over here. Alright, so on this, you get your fingers in between the fender well and the bumper itself and just pull the bumper out towards you. And that, it's just clipped in there with some clips. Just grab it, put your hand in there like that and pull. You want to be towards the top because that's where the clips are at. Like right here. There you go. You just pull this straight out. But sometimes on the front you have to pull it kind of downward. On this one we don't. So what you're trying to do is get to this bolt right there. And this bolt right there, which is a 10mm. And we'll use the Milwaukee to get that out. And you see here, we didn't get underneath the car at all and take any of those bolts out underneath. You can pull this bumper back far enough without taking the whole bumper off to get to the bolts you need. So next step is to get those 10mm out. Like I said, we got one right here. No.
Oh, not that one?
That one. So you pull that one out. Then we got one on the side. Just pull the bumper back a little bit. Don't get too crazy with pulling on it. Now with those 2 out, this should slide right out for the most part. You just pull your headlight assembly out now.
Okay.
So you just kind of pull down on the headlight. There's a tab down here, it goes into the frame, and then over here. So as you can see now, bumper's still attached to the car for the most part. And there's your headlights right there. We're going to go after this one right here. This is your low beam, that's your high beam. So we'll take that off and replace it. Undo this. So I'm doing the pigtail right now. I want to show you something after that that's pretty common on these. Alright, see now, he pulled this out and the grommet's not on there. You got to make sure that grommet comes out with it. If you try to put the new headlight in without the grommet, it won't snap in. A lot of times they stick in there. And it's just this little grommet right here. And they come with the new one with the new headlight. So, and this customer wants both of them changed. He doesn't want to go through this again. Like I said, he called Walmart. They wouldn't even do it. And the other shop wanted $150 plus parts to do this. I think that's a little excessive for this job. But anyway, it's here now. We're going to fix it. And it's the same on the other side. We're going to just pull that headlight out and pull this out. And then we'll get new balls and put it in. Kind of go through the installation. It's pretty easy. So anyway, I'll do the other side and then we'll catch back up. Alright, so we got the lights in, they work. What you want to do when you get the lights in, after you get them in, is wiggle the wires. They go to the connector. Just do the wiggle test, make sure there's nothing. Maybe tap on the light a little bit. This one's good. This one here, just wiggle these wires around. Make sure it was nothing to do with the wiring. And just tap on the light. And it's all working now. So now we're going to start putting it back together. So we'll pop those headlights back in and put those two 10mm bolts back in, and then we'll go back to work on the bumper. All we're doing is just putting these bolts back in. You got one here again, which you already know that if you took it out. And you got the one on the side before you put the bumper back on. So you just pull this bumper back up over the inner bumper here. Snap this all back in place, and then we're going to run the two 10mm bolts back up on each side and put the clips in. And then all you do basically after that is put this panel on, put the bolts back in, the clips, and you're done. Before you do that, check it one more time. Make sure the lights are still coming on, which they should be. That's always good. Double and triple check that before you get too far insulating it, installing it. So yeah, that's pretty much it with this. You can save a lot of money if you do this yourself. It's not like the old days where it takes 5 minutes to change one, but a couple tools and a little bit of patience, and you do it yourself. And if you're in Harbor Freight, pick one of these up. It's great for pulling those clips out. You just put it underneath there and push down on it, opens it right up. And I think these are less than $10. It's a good investment. And that's about it for this one. Get this hoopty back on the road.